Are you thinking that filing for bankruptcy might be a good way to fix your financial situation? If so, you're not alone. Bankruptcy is a legal process that can help people who can't pay their bills. It allows you to wipe out your debt and get a fresh start. Filing for bankruptcy will also put a halt to foreclosure or legal actions against you, and it stops creditors from calling and demanding payment. This breathing space is one of the most desired benefits of filing for bankruptcy. But there are a few things you should know before you take that giant step. Bankruptcy won't solve all your problems. You'll need help, and it can be a long and costly process. There are other important considerations to think about. So to help you figure it out, here are 10 things you should know before filing for bankruptcy. Let's get into it. Thank you and welcome to my channel, Corey Hammond, Money Mindset, trying to help encourage people to get financially free. So follow me. Leave a comment in the section below, give me a like, and hit that notification button. All right, first things first. So what kind of bankruptcy are you going to file? For most folks, you have an option of a Chapter 7 and a Chapter 13. A Chapter 7 means pretty much all your debts are wiped away, almost all of them. Chapter 13 pretty much means that you are going to be on some type of repayment plan to your creditors. So usually you will go and see an attorney. I highly suggest you do that. Don't mess up on this paperwork. It's a little bit crazy. So seek out an attorney so they can let you know what is the best route to take and move forward with your Chapter 7 or 13 bankruptcy. For my case, it was a Chapter 7. All right, so you also need to move forward with potentially seeing if it's a good fit. Do you really have to file for bankruptcy? I highly recommend going to credit counseling. I did so. They'll give you a snapshot of where you're at and seeing what's a good fit. But be careful. Make sure you're going to ones that are advertised in the community as free and not some of those predatory ones that are out there that could mess you up in the long run. So just make sure they're reputable and get that financial snapshot. If you do decide to move forward with bankruptcy, they'll make you go to credit counseling anyway, just to, I think, to ensure everything is good. So I went before I even filed, and I believe I ended up having to go again once I went forward with the actual process. All right, so just because you have made the decision to file for bankruptcy does not mean you can just screw up your credit even further. Don't go on a shopping spree. Don't go ball out of control. Just don't do any weird fishy things like moving money from different accounts if you have a little bit, because they will look at everything. So pay attention to that. And if you're doing something that's a little too suspicious, some of the folks that you may owe money to may file a petition to reject your filing for bankruptcy because you're just being a little bit shady. So keep that in mind as you move forward with the process. Bankruptcy will not eliminate all your debt, so keep that in mind. When you go to your attorney and they start looking at everything, they'll let you know if some things won't come off your bankruptcy. And 9 times out of 10, the biggest thing that will not come off are student loans, unless you went to some of those predatory schools, those for-profit institutions, the Kaplans, the Valorats, the ITT Techs. The government is currently doing a lot of stuff right now to help folks eliminate that debt, which is a good thing. But if you went to a traditional school, a community college, or a 4-year school, and you racked up some debt, it may not be discharged in bankruptcy. Child support, alimony, things like that may not be discharged because they can get your payments really, really low that you can afford them. The government has so many different plans in terms of fluctuating that college debt. So that was one of the things that I learned, that my everything else being discharged, the college student loans was not going to be. The government still wants their money. All right, so you can keep some of your property, but it just depends. So pay attention to that. There's things called like exempt or non-exempt. Won't get into all that legal jargon, but some of the property that you have, you can keep. So if you've been living in your home, you're up to your mortgage or you're paying stuff, they probably won't take that away. But if your home is going into foreclosure already, things of that nature, they may go ahead and say, okay, let it go and maybe move into an apartment. In my case, I had a home that was definitely in foreclosure. It had flipped. It was when the housing market was horrible. So I couldn't even get it sold on a short sale. So I was already living in a different state by then, was moving on with my life, trying to get all this stuff behind me. But keep that in mind. Some property you may be able to keep, some you may not. Again, the importance of seeking legal counsel so they can inform you on what your options may or may not be. Bankruptcy takes a little bit longer than people may think. Similar to when you hear people getting a divorce, that it's just not a quick wham bam, thank you ma'am process. Bankruptcy is kind of the same thing. You have to think about it. They're going to go through your life about all your financials, and then your attorney is going to create an application that's going to get turned in, and then you have to have actually a court date to get all of that discharged. So with paperwork and moving things through, anywhere from 4 to 6 months, may take a little longer depending if you're filing the Chapter 7 or the Chapter 13. So just be patient through the process. So we know you want to get it over with, but be patient through the process. It will get done, especially if you're working with an attorney that's going to help you through all of the paperwork and help walk you through every step. You'll be good. So as I said, bankruptcy is a complicated process. In this day and age, you can find so many ways to do things yourself. Again, I'm a big advocate of if you can save some money and do it yourself, do it in terms of looking at and doing business stuff, things for your own personal finances. But this is one thing that you do not want to skimp on. So it can be an expensive process and a complicated process. There's so many darn on court documents that you don't want to miss something where you'll end up having to get your bankruptcy rejected and have to go through that process again. So you have to suck it up, and even though money may be tight, get to a place where you can afford to actually file for bankruptcy. Now, I believe mine was about between $1,500 and $1,800 altogether. Every state will be a little bit differently, but you'll probably have a fee of about $2,000 or under. So keep that in mind, that bankruptcy, it does cost, it is expensive. So you have to save up some type of funds or get some kind of funds borrowed to be able to even file for bankruptcy. This is a part where I was so humbled, and I want to encourage people, if you're moving forward to do this, that you really do have to disclose your entire life to your attorney. So, you can try to clean up some stuff or try to put yourself in a better light. At the end of the day, they don't care. I'll say that they care, but they don't really care. They really just want to know everything to make sure that application process goes through smoothly. So you may have a cool, attorney that hears your story and hear about the ups and downs of life and all that good stuff, but they just want to get to the bottom of everything to make sure that nothing is left off of that application as you move forward, everything. So even good stuff, like I was in good standing with some things, it wasn't everything. I'll tell you a little bit more about my story, but the business stuff was all in shambles. But my personal life, I still was trying to do okay, paying my car note, paying little bills and stuff, cell phone bills and stuff here and there. So everything just wasn't in the red, but they will want to know about everything, every asset, every bill, everything that you have in order to move forward, because you have to be completely honest and truthful to the court and to all of your creditors of where your financial status is to be able to move forward with the whole process. Don't let this freak you out, but when you file for bankruptcy, it is public record. So everything ends up getting put out there. But that didn't stress me out so much. I mean, I think leading up to even filing in my court date, like that stuff gets put in the paper. But who is really doing that? I mean, if you're a high politician or if you're in a crazy industry and people are just in the know and being nosy, they may pay attention, but your average citizen isn't just looking through the paper of, who filed for bankruptcy that day and looking at it every day to say, Corey filed for bankruptcy, shame. So don't let that fear stress you out or put you in a bind of not really wanting to do it. Again, at the end of the day, it's not about them, it's about you and being in that process to get yourself to a place of financial freedom, that breathing room to begin starting over again. Filing for bankruptcy does affect your credit for a number of years, and that was scary. But again, I was such at a place where I had to do it. Your credit, it will be on your credit report for up to 10 years, 7 to 10 years. So 7, I believe, when stuff really fell off for me, but up to 10 years, probably depending on which credit bureau, it's 3 of them, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So I don't even remember looking at all of them, but I know from at least 1 or 2 of them, it was off by 7 years. So just keep that in mind. It is a long process in that regard of just being on your credit for years, affecting you in certain ways. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, because as much as I was very scared of that, I did see how easy life was able to restart again. But you do have to be smart about it. So stay tuned. I'm gonna hit you with all of the tea about my whole process, but these are some tips and that you should be aware of before you move into the process. And the other thing, again, just I can't reiterate it enough, that life does begin again. It may seem like it's the end of the world. I don't care if you're 20, I don't care if you're 30, 40, or 50. There are people who are still resetting their lives, moving forward with financial freedom, and kicking butt in this thing we call life. So these are my tips and tricks. Stay tuned. We're gonna have a couple follow-up videos just to get all the information out there so you can be set up for success if you're gonna file for bankruptcy, knowing the entire process from kind of start to end and life after bankruptcy. So that's it for now. Peace and blessings. This is Corey, Money Mindset every day. Or like I say, money mindset every day. Till next time, peace.